it's a very weird situation where Air India flies from Delhi to Ahmedabad without difficulty, without any report of anything going wrong. And then from there, it goes, takes off on time and just crashes. So it's an extraordinary event. Everything has to be looked at. And without the interference of the Prime Minister, because he has had a bad habit in many other investigations where he intervenes. And so I would like him to be not anywhere near that thing, so that the confidence remains in the public. I think I am very less convinced that this is a foreign intervention which was deemed to blacken our name. I would say, of course, that also should be examined. But I would place that as a matter to be taken up later. First, let's understand what happened. Why did it behave the way it did? Not between Delhi and Ahmedabad, but on the takeoff from the point of Ahmedabad. The question basically is, are we being so lackadaisical that one day we can have a set of planes nationalized, and then after that you want to favor somebody whom you like? What we should understand is the totality. You have such a big airline and you give it to a privateer. The first flaw, and therefore the first person who should be censured, is Mr. Modi. And he insisted, just to please Ratan Tata, he denationalized the Air India, which was in the hands of the government at that time.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. Everyone is at a loss of words when you think and imagine how the Air India Dreamliner would have crashed just minutes, or not even minutes, within seconds after it took off from Ahmedabad. Out of 242, 241 people have died. They've completely been charred. Their bodies are still being recovered. But the government has now formed a high level multidisciplinary committee to examine the causes behind the crash of Air India flight AI-171, which was en route from Ahmedabad to London's Gatwick Airport on June 12th. Now, this multidisciplinary committee, of course, will have people from all walks of life. It includes civil aviation experts, people from the Indian Air Force, and of course the aviation experts. And they are supposed to submit their report in 3 months' time. But this apart from the other multi-level agencies which are looking into the causes of the crash. But a very surprising tweet has come from an ex-CIA person. Her name is Sarah Adams, and she has pointed out that, and I'm going to read out that tweet to you, what exactly Sarah Adams actually said. And it's quite revealing because she tweets on 9th of June, just 3 days before the incident happened. And what she said was, and I'm going to read out to you, that you get the biggest attack that India will have on its soil is currently being planned in Afghanistan. And that has become the talking point on the social media, which forces you to ask the question that, was this Air India crash a conspiracy? Does it look like a terror attack? Because the flight which took off from Delhi to Ahmedabad, it didn't have a problem. But the moment it took off from Ahmedabad, within seconds, the plane turned into a ball of fire, killing everyone almost on board. Joining me this evening is Dr. Subramanian Swamy, veteran BJP leader, and also someone who criticizes the BJP's policy. And let me tell you that he was also part of the committee uh, which was discussing the privatization of Air India at that point of time. And Dr. Swamy was not in favor of privatizing Air India, but it was at the insistence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi that the plan got the clearance. Dr. Swamy, thank you so much for joining. And it's really unfortunate that we have to now discuss what we never had expected. I saw Sarah Adams' tweet where she has pointed out that this could have been a terror attack, probably planned in Afghanistan. Will you take this seriously? Because many people on social media are saying that maybe she could have written this out of anger. But can we rule out the terror angle?
No, in such matters, there's nothing to be ruled out. Everything should be examined. After all, if you have no clue at all, then it's best that any clue presented to you, you analyze it. So I see nothing wrong with having to look at it. And after all, it's a very weird situation where Air India flies from Delhi to Ahmedabad without difficulty, without any report of anything going wrong. And then from there, it goes, takes off on time and just crashes. So it's an extraordinary event, whether it is a mechanical failure, whether it's an international failure, an internationally induced failure, whether it is the people in Afghanistan or whatever. Everything has to be looked at. And without the interference of the Prime Minister, because he has had a bad habit in many other investigations where he intervenes. And so I would like him to be not anywhere near that thing, so that the confidence remains in the public that we have got the truth. After all, it was a crash in the state of Mr. Modi. Ahmedabad is the capital of Gujarat, and Modi comes from that state. So all the more reason that he should be kept as far away as possible, or he should keep himself as far as possible in the investigation that will be taking place.
But we did see Prime Minister Modi going and visiting the wreckage site, and in fact, he's been lampooned on the social media as well with a ANI camera person lying on the floor and then taking shots of Prime Minister looking up the wall, on which parts of that that ill-fated aeroplane was stuck into the walls of that BG Medical College building. I mean, what would you really say? And even Amit Shah is being mocked at that what is the need to be present there, and people are really mocking at them.
Nothing wrong with being present in the terminal rooms of Ahmedabad airport, but to go around examining it, he should know that he's no expert. His education is minimal, and therefore there's nothing that he can explain or even analyze after seeing all these things happen. And they just makes it increases the time before we get to serious business. We should get as quickly as possible in serious business. Let me say one thing, that as you had mentioned in your introductory remarks, I was a member of the committee of Parliament, which is a regular committee examining the situation of the airline, where I was dead against privatizing Air India, because it was being done to please one of the Tatas, and who's no more, so I will not take his full name. And it was at his thing and it was at a low price. Now, I had argued there that this is now a very sophisticated field now. It's not like 1952 when we nationalized JRD Tata's aircraft or airlines, and that time there were only 4 or 5 aircrafts. Today we are dealing with a large number of accidents, the whole country, and where even middle class people and lower middle class people are traveling by aircrafts, by air. So I would say that this should not, at least Air India should be there, should be in the hands of the government, because only government has enough of material, money, and so on to deal with this company. I am not sure that the people today who are heading the Tatas, they are both Tamilians, so I'm not going to name them either for that purpose. Do they know the subject? And my own interaction with them when I was arguing against the induction of certain foreign airlines from Singapore and other places, and I had found that they were extremely weak in the field of airlines. So they should know what role did they play, in what way they overlooked many things, or what they wanted to speed up. All these things have to be gone into. And I think I am very less convinced that this is a this is a foreign intervention which was deemed to blacken our name. I would say, of course, that also should be examined, but I would place that as a matter to be taken up later. First, let's understand what happened. Why did it behave the way it did? Not between Delhi and Ahmedabad, but on the takeoff from the point of Ahmedabad. That
No, but, when you say that things went wrong only after the plane took off from Ahmedabad, what are you hinting at? Is it because Ahmedabad is supposed to be Modi's and Amit Shah's bastion? I'm just trying to explore that possibility. And is it because maybe the enemy country, if at all there is a hand of the enemy country, they are trying to send out a message to the Prime Minister Modi? Or they're trying to send out a message to the Gujaratis. We must not forget that that airport is also being taken care of by Mr. Gautam Adani. So, is there a larger message, if at all, if I'm underlining the word, if there is a terror angle to it, where we see a possible involvement of an enemy country? I'm not naming any country in it.
First of all, my wife is from Ahmedabad. She got a degree from Ahmedabad. She speaks Gujarati. Of course, she is Parsi, but she is very much a part of Gujarat. Second, Moralji Desai was doted on me, and he was one of the doyen of Gujarat. So I would like to see that the image and the purity of Gujarat is not sullied by unnecessary controversy. I will be the last one to do it. But I was a member of the committee which fought tooth and nail, saying that Air India is too big for Tatas to run it. And they will cut corners and we will lose. And this is all on record. And therefore, we should not, we can, denationalize anything else you want. But as far as aircraft is concerned.
Dr. Swamy, so you do believe that the corners have been cut by Tata? And
Yes,
they were not
absolutely.
managed, they were not
Yeah.
maintained,
Yes,
and there would be a reason.
yes, of course. It is I would consider that as the main reason that the two people from Tamil Nadu who are heading the Tatas, because they are favorites of Ratan Tata, and these two people have a lot to answer. They don't whether they we don't know whether they know aeronautics or not, but they have to be examined first, because what did they overrule? Did they not give enough money? Did they say no, not now, later on, whatever? But a matter has taken place which is due to some fault in not doing proper investigation before the aircraft takes off.
But why do you think that Prime Minister Modi insisted so much on the privatization of Air India, and that too giving it to Ratan Tata? Of course, that question has now come in, that have the Tatas been able to manage Air India the way it should have? Because there are a lot of questions on the maintenance culture. There are questions on the inspection, the checks, whether all that happened. Because the possible technical reasons for the failure, of course, one is the twin bird. I mean, it could be a bird hit, it could be a twin engine failure. The flaps could not have been managed. All that is being pointed out. So, do you point this out as a clear gaping hole on the part of the Tatas and no one else?
First of all, this bird hit thing, it sounds very extraordinary. It wouldn't lead to this kind of a crash, you see.
Okay.
And where is the proof? You see, the plane was okay. If a bird comes and hits the propellers of the plane, there's no propellers anyway. They're just those modern weapons, modern blowers. So the question is, it would have been found in a site because it would have been put aside. It wouldn't have been burnt with the aircraft. So they're all bunkum, you see, to say due to it. I can't believe that birds can bring down a huge aircraft like the one we saw today. We have seen yesterday. So let's go and not in terms of anything and everything should be examined. First and foremost is that the aircraft did rise and then it couldn't rise anymore and it started coming down. What does those black body or whatever they're called? What does it say? I mean, these are recorded matters. They have not come in the public yet. What is the two pilots are saying to themselves? You see, this all get recorded and it can't be easily burnt because there is solid material. So we will need to do those things. The question basically is, are we being so lackadaisical that one day we can have a set of planes nationalized, and then after that you want to favor somebody whom you like, whom I used to call as Ratan Tata, actually his real name. I used to call him Ratan Tata because of many other minus points he had, which I don't want to bring it up now. He's no more alive. So I had said in the committee that why Air India? It's such a big thing. It's become so big. You can't now bring it back to the same Air India, and that is the Tatas, because the Tatas have also expanded, and they have fewer. Don't have that kind of personnel, and none of the personnel of the government of India is going to go to the Tatas. So this is where the first major mistake was made. Now, who's responsible for that? It doesn't mean that the person responsible has to be hanged or something like that. And I would say the person responsible for forcing to make Air India into a private matter is Mr. Modi. And I was there in the committee. I fought for it, and I know how much unhappy he was about it.
No, but Dr. Swamy, particularly in this air crash, if the heads have to roll, who should be penalized? Where does the buck stop here in this particular mishap?
Well, I mean, you'll have to start from the top. If it's
top could be the Air India management.
The chairman of the Tata & Sons.
Okay.
I think Mr. Chandrasekharan or something like that. His name is. He's a Tamilian, I know. This much I know. So I'm a Gujarati because my wife is a Gujarati. I mean, she's a Parsi, but she's from Ahmedabad. She got a degree from Ahmedabad. My father, my wife's father was collector of Ahmedabad, and they lived in Ahmedabad for many years and in lovely houses in Ahmedabad. So I feel very strongly for Ahmedabad. And Moraji Desai was a great fan of mine. in the sense he thought I should succeed him, which I unfortunately could not. But he was like a father to me, and I shall never forget him. So I had this connection with Gujarat, and I feel bad because they are very efficient people in Gujarat. There are people who can produce goods. So there are crooks. Some crooks have come, but not everyone is a crook. There are some really good industrialists who have expanded all over the country and all over the world. So therefore, we must now take this as a kind of a religious matter. You see, here is our nation being sullied, that we can't maintain, protect the aeroplane from crashing. And that too is such a big aircraft, small fights. It's a small aircrafts which go around in a situation where there is some wind change and all that, and then they crash. Those are not to be taken seriously. Here, there are 244 people, and it crashes only because it is not able to climb up. After climbing up some little matter. So I mean, what a monumental flaw it must be in the machine, and how did it happen?
But Prime Minister went, Amit Shah also went there, and now a multidisciplinary committee has been formed. NIA also is investigating. Now, there are too many agencies which are investigating into the air crash. And what I'm told is that this multidisciplinary committee, which is going to be formed, will make some guidelines, will find some SOPs for the future so that, disasters like these can be averted. Now, my point is that if you look at what Sarah Adams has said in her tweet,
Yeah.
she has clearly said that probably this was a planned attack and something which was planned in Afghanistan. Should we take her tweet lightly? Sure, and I'm sure the Indian government also would be looking at the tweet very, very carefully. Now, I don't know in what vein has she written, because many people on the social media are saying that she's written that out of anger. Now, even if she has written that out of anger, but she's someone who is from CIA, and should we take that tweet very, very lightly and just dismiss it completely?
No, it should be one of the possibilities. You see, somebody of that
You are
kind of.
saying that there can be a terror attack. There can be
No,
an
why
anger.
should I rule it? Why should I rule it out? I don't know there has been, frankly. And if you ask me, do you think the probability is high? I would say that, to my knowledge, and having been part of the committee in the parliament for many, many years on this subject, I would say my instinct says unlikely that it's some foreign forces that came and did it. That's my instinct, because I'm not in the investigation at all, and certainly Modi will never allow that. Anyway, even if the others want me to come and assist, but the fact is that a huge aircraft, new from the United States, comes and gets crashed after having flown successfully from Delhi to Ahmedabad. What should have happened? I mean, the pilots who must have changed hands in Ahmedabad, they must have made a thing that it's not a serious matter. And then it takes off, the whole thing goes. So some of its parts must have been poor quality thing that suddenly gave away. There could be many, many possibilities. We don't go into that. But frankly, in my opinion, what we should understand is the totality. You have such a big airline and you give it to a privateer. The first flaw, and therefore the first person who should be censured, is Mr. Modi. When he insisted, just to please Ratan Tata, he denationalized the Air India, which was in the hands of the government at that time.
How will Modi be penalized, Dr. Swamy? You said that Mr. Modi should be the first person who should be censured. Who's going to censure Modi? No one can censure Modi. Not even the
Censure,
board.
no, no, you can censure. I mean, any newspaper can censure. I'm not saying that you should be sent to jail. Not yet, anyway. But the fact is that this is the kind of climate in our country today, where Mr. Modi pretends to be an educated man, which he is not, and then people then fall in place and start yielding to what he wants done. He should not be there. He should not have been even there where he went on examining every little piece there. The Prime Minister should have come to the reserved lounge and addressed the press and gone away and said, I will set up a very good committee and find out. Now, we should begin by first asking the builders of this aircraft. Ask them that, how many so far have you built? And how many have even had accidents, not destruction, but have had accidents? You get to know whether this is something extraordinary, which then will take us. If supposing it's extraordinary, this is the only case of where that plane has suffered, that plane of that size has suffered, then we will have to go back to the Indian situation and find out who was dealing with it. How did the Tatas manage? Were they capable of managing it? I know personally, because the Tatas are full of Parsis, and I know most of the Parsis in Bombay, and most of them were sad the way Tata and Sons was sinking by bringing in all kinds of people who don't deserve to be in it. It had lost out its purity and so on. So find out from them that inside, were there any who felt uneasy having got this aircraft? This aircraft was by Ratan Tata. He didn't consult anybody except those two Madrasis who are today in charge. So all the other people in the company, they all are coming under a dark cloud. So they should be examined. They should be asked, where were you consulted? Did you know this? Did you know that? Then we should proceed. It's a thing that should never happen again.
But when it comes to fixing the accountability, who do you think, where does the buck stop? You feel that the buck stops with Prime Minister Modi?
Too early. No, I will always say the buck stops with Modi because he's Prime Minister of India. And yet every day something or the other in big files. You see, if he doesn't know how to read and write, that's a different matter. But I think that he knows how to read and write, and maybe he can read. Many of the things are presented to him in Hindi anyway. So what needs to be done is that we don't start with this who should be blamed and all that. First, what happened? Nobody knows for sure what happened. Why did it not happen between Delhi and Ahmedabad? Why did it happen here? So therefore, those are the facts which have to come. And they should be open. Let it be openly given. I mean, they don't have to call me as an expert. If they put it out in the newspaper, I will put out a column, to say what I think about it. I don't need to be in any committee.
But tomorrow is 15th of June, where G7 summit starts in Canada's Alberta. Prime Minister Modi, I'm also told that he's going to be visiting the G7 summit. Now, because of this air mishap, do you think that he should be going at all? And there are, of course, other diplomatic...
No, he has no place there. He's an observer. How can the Prime Minister of 1.4 billion people be an observer of 7 people sitting and deciding? He can't open his mouth in that. And they didn't want him at all. Then his favorite parrot, our foreign minister, he made an appeal. You should invite him. Then, first of all, they said, no, we can't invite him. Then there was a change because Trump intervened in the matter, perhaps. And then, of course, what is he being invited for? Coming and sitting as an observer, not as a member of the committee. Okay? and he doesn't have the status to overturn anybody's decisions anymore. His status has gone internationally down, down, down in a big way, and it's bad for the country. So I personally feel you should use this as an excuse that this is a very big thing which I have to monitor. So I am not coming. If he still goes, then it only confirms what I always knew about him, that he's just a philanderer.
Very unfortunate, though, what has happened as far as this Air India mishap is concerned. And will we ever come to know about the reasons? We're all waiting for what the
Well,
black box details look like. And of course, this multidisciplinary committee now, which has been formed. But also one last bit, Dr. Swamy, before I wind up. According to you, who should be investigating the matter? I also heard you saying somewhere that probably you will file a PIL and you would request the Supreme Court sitting judges to form a committee. Now, is that true?
no, I don't want them to form a committee. Committee can be formed by government. And there's a Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore, a very fine place. IITs. We have got a lot of very good people, very, very good people. Some are retired also, and so they can give full time. So I would say that as long as the selection is fair, and it's not only Modi's favorites who are chosen, in fact, Modi should say, no, anyone connected with me should not be in the committee. And bureaucrats to the least, except to provide files. These are things that can be done. In India, we are capable of enormous intelligent investigation. But only thing is that people should know that this is what that we are free to come out to a conclusion that the government made a mistake, or that the Tatas made a mistake. Tatas are very powerful people also, and they have got their fangs into the government.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Swamy, for speaking to us on HW. Thank you. Thank you very much.